Heya Cryptozens. Tonight's show. SEC, CFTC, both, neither. Which is best for crypto? It's 10 p.m. Pacific, and the date is September 9th, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. My name is Nikodemus, and I'll be your host. The cover model, mascot, and co-host for this podcast is Tex. And together, we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. Keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. Gerber Gruhl is the enforcement director for the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission. He was speaking at a program hosted by the Practicing Law Institute, and it was there that he resisted criticisms leveled at his agency. Accusations of picking winners and losers, stifling innovation, that there are people who feel that the SEC has unfairly targeted crypto. They don't feel like the SEC applies the rules equally between financial products, traditional markets, and cryptocurrency. And he also kind of hinted that the SEC has a responsibility to protect minorities and poor investors that get drawn into crypto projects. It's his view that crypto has an outsized harmful effect on low-income and non-white investors. He said, quote, "It often seems critics are upset because we're not giving crypto a pass from the application of well-established regulations and precedents. We're not to investigate and bring appropriate cases just as we always have, simply to duck criticism or difficult questions. We'd be acting with both fear and favor." And further, he went on to explain why, in his view, that the people need the SEC. He said, quote, "Non-enforcement of the most fundamental rules underlying our regulatory structure would be a betrayal of trust and not an option for us. We will continue to bring actions regardless of what label is used or technology is involved or not. Failure to do so would constitute an abdication of our responsibilities." And so it was in that atmosphere that Gruhl says that the SEC will not look the other way while cryptocurrency companies are breaking securities laws. In fact, most of his remarks were focused on crypto. Now, Gruhl is still pretty new in his role as SEC enforcement chief. He's only been in that job since last July. His boss, however, Gary Gensler, he's been in his job for a little bit longer now. He spoke at the same Practicing Law Institute a day earlier, and in his written remarks, SEC Chair Gensler again reiterated what he has said many times, what he's been criticized by Mark Cuban for saying. He was talking to people in this space working on token projects and again said that those people should, quote, "come in and talk to us." As he said before, he believes the vast majority of tokens on the market are securities. That would make them subject to the regulations put in place by the SEC. He's also saying that they're probably going to have to pass a law or two. He said, quote, "I look forward to working with crypto projects and intermediaries looking to come into compliance with the laws. I also look forward to working with Congress on various legislative initiatives while maintaining the robust authorities we currently have. Let's ensure that we don't inadvertently undermine securities laws underlying the $100 trillion capital markets." He also said companies might end up having to register with both the SEC and the CFTC. That would depend on what model they're using to offer services, that of an exchange, broker-dealer, or custodian, depending on what they offer. Quote, "The commingling of the various functions within crypto intermediaries creates inherent conflicts of interest and risks for investors. Disaggregating their functions into separate legal entities could mitigate conflicts of interest and enhance investor protection." And that kind of matches up with what he said in the past. This last June, he was speaking with the Financial Times when he said, quote, "I'm talking about one rule book on the exchange that protects all trading regardless of the pair, be it a security token versus security token versus commodity token versus commodity token." Which I have to wonder about. What does that look like for an exchange, as an example, that they have to please both the SEC and the Commodities Future Trading Commission? At the time of writing, the global crypto market cap is $1.05 trillion. So we got the trillion mark back, at least for now. That's up quite a bit, though, 6.65%. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin up 10.19%, Ethereum up 4.67%, Tether, USDC, and Binance Coin up 3.83%. If you look around, there is a lot of prospective crypto legislation out there, right? We have the Digital Commodities Exchange Act, introduced last April. It's a bipartisan bill that wants to turn the regulatory authority of crypto over to the CFTC on exchanges and stablecoins. This one is led by Glenn Thompson and Tom Emmer from the Republican side, and Darren Soto and Ro Khanna from the Democrat side. And this one definitely leans heavily on the side of the CFTC. They would register spot crypto exchanges. So one thing that this bill doesn't do, it doesn't take anything away from the SEC. They would retain their power over digital asset securities. However, it carves out a new category. Cryptocurrencies that are not securities would be classified as digital commodities and regulated by the CFTC. And then you've got the Responsible Fiscal Innovation Act. Introduced last June, it's also a bipartisan bill that, at least in part, takes a look at how to divide the responsibilities between the SEC and the CFTC. Now, we knew this one was coming back before Christmas. Sponsored by Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis and Democrat Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, it's massive. It has the kind of the same theme as the Digital Commodity Exchange Act. Short version, if it's not a security, it's a commodity, something called an ancillary asset. But it gives the CFTC authority over crypto exchanges, as well as allowing them to collect fees to pay for their activities. Debbie Stabenow and John Boozman are both on the Senate Ag Committee. They have oversight over the CFTC. Last month, they introduced their own bill, which also ups the CFTC's regulatory powers. It's called the Digital Commodities Consumer Protection Act. And like the other two bills, it also greatly enlarges the role the CFTC plays in crypto regulation. In the summary, it says that the term digital commodity, quote, includes Bitcoin, Ether, and excludes certain financial instruments, including securities. As in the Responsible Fiscal Innovation Act, if it ain't a commodity, it's a security. This one has a broad reach of players that they want registered to the CFTC, some of which include digital commodity broker, digital commodity custodian, and digital commodity dealer. Now, in their scheme, digital commodity platforms might have to be cross-registered with the SEC to be legal. Further, the bill requires the registration of, quote, associated persons of digital commodity brokers and digital commodity dealers. Now, all of these bills enjoyed a pretty warm reception. About the Stabenow-Boozman bill, blockchain associate policy head Jake Chervinsky called it a, quote, a good bill overall, and confirms growing consensus for CFTC regulation. Now, about the DCEO, advocacy body, the Crypto Council for Innovation called it a step forward, saying that it creates a, quote, new atmosphere of opportunity without stifling innovation. And about the RFIA, put forward by Lummis and Gillibrand, Blockchain Association Executive Director Kristen Smith called the bill a milestone moment. She said, quote, we thank Senators Lummis and Gillibrand for engaging with industry on this bill, and we look forward to continuing to work with them as we refine the language and advance the bill through the process. But those are industry people. They're the ones that are potentially governed by this kind of legislation. What about those in the trenches? What about the government insiders who would have to implement this legislation, however that ends up looking? Rostin Benham is the chair of the CFTC. Last February, he was at a Senate hearing on digital assets. At that time, he told lawmakers that the CFTC had a lack of authority to enforce the crypto space. He said that's specifically due to differing regulations, which is an important point. Now, further, in talking about the crypto space, he called it an unregulated market. Those are his words. He's talked about the CFTC's limitations due to regulatory authority in the past. Bringing things to light is not the same as enforcement. He said, quote, we don't have any of these very advanced tools to monitor markets, so it's giving us a very, very narrow lens into what is actually happening in the market. This is why I think as you contemplate more regulatory authority for the CFTC, bringing this market into the light, so to speak, with more transparency will only allow us to see what's going on underneath the hood. Now, for his part, in the past, Gensler has defended his actions with the SEC, saying he wasn't interested in empire building, that the SEC wasn't trying to expand its regulatory reach. He said, quote, "We're just looking out for the retail public. These tokens are being offered to the public, and the public is hoping for a better future. That's the characteristics of an investment contract." The global NFT market cap is up 16.08%. According to CoinMarketCap, the top 5 NFT collections by sales volume are CryptoPunks, followed by Bored Apes, Otherdeed, Mutant Apes, and CloneX. Now keep in mind, some of these collections have very volatile prices, so do your own research. But regulation isn't all about the authority alone. Blockchain analytics company Elliptic said that U.S. regulators have collected over $3.35 billion through enforcement actions in the crypto space. 70% of that went to the SEC, which might be coming to an end. Before, while the SEC is unofficially the lead dog in the crypto thing, there are both lawmakers and industry members who are frequently dissatisfied with their performance. Like the 5 Republican senators that sent the SEC a letter last June. This was asking Gensler to withdraw a staff accounting bulletin. According to senators, the bulletin amounts to regulation disguised as staff guidance and does not adhere to the Administrative Procedure Act. This is not an uncommon accusation. Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, criticized the SEC on their contradictions regarding crypto regulations. He said, quote, "The SEC now seems to take the position when they sued us that XRP is a security and always has been. But they approved Coinbase going public even though Coinbase is not a registered broker-dealer. There's some contradictions here of the SEC almost not within its organization knowing left hand, right hand." And the often heard complaint about a lack of clarity has been around for a while now. Just this last December, Bitfury CEO Brian Brooks was part of a group of crypto CEOs that went to Congress to talk about the challenges that stablecoin issuers and crypto exchanges face. He's just not happy with the regulatory environment that the SEC has created. He noted that the U.S. is experiencing a bit of brain drain as skilled innovators leave the country. Quote, "One relates to the effect of U.S. crypto regulation on American competitiveness in both the technology and capital markets sectors. There are a number of examples of U.S. regulatory decisions that have driven legitimate activity offshore in ways that harm the U.S., investors, innovators, and workers. Can anyone explain, for example, why Fidelity Investments, one of America's best-known investment advisors, had to go to Canada to offer a Bitcoin ETF?" Pennsylvania Senator Pat Toomey is one of the ranking members of the Senate Banking Committee. For now. He's retiring soon. But crypto-friendly as he is, he wants to make the crypto space a better place when he leaves it. He's unhappy with Gensler's performance on regulatory clarity. He said, quote, "For investors to benefit from a fair and competitive marketplace, federal agencies should answer questions about whether, and if so, how, new and emerging technologies fit under existing regulations. Chairman Gensler's failure to provide clear rules of the road for cryptocurrencies underscores the need for Congress to act." Now, for what it's worth, I think they're all wrong. Crypto is neither fish nor fowl. Aspects of it work kind of like a commodity. Aspects of it look a lot like securities. So with that, I would bring the CFTC and the SEC under one regulatory body. And then I would bring in a new commission, equal to the CFTC and the SEC. I would give them ultimate regulatory authority over distributed ledger technologies and its offspring, like crypto exchanges and crypto loans. Make the 3 agencies work together, kind of like how Homeland Security is supposed to be the overarching emergency response agency with individual, independent agencies underneath it. I would do something similar for financial tech. But all that said, nothing is happening soon. These bills we're talking about here are big, big bills. with obvious detractors like Senator Elizabeth Warren. Midterm elections are right around the corner. It's going to be very contentious as always. That means you're not going to see a lot of cross-aisle cooperation, which is too bad. As I've said before, the minute crypto becomes a left versus right issue, both sides lose. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. Take care of yourselves, but take care of each other too. We've got Weekend Roundup tomorrow night, and then I will see you back here on Sunday.